pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call order roll call, starting on the right.
Councilperson Josh Arndt.
Councilperson Brent Meyer.
Mayor for 111 more days, Jimmy John King.
COVID's gonna be over then too. Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Olgen.
Approval of tonight's agenda, anything to add?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Approval of council meeting minutes of Joe. You can't be doing that.
June
We better not-
23rd.
June 23rd?
June 23rd.
Approved before we had it. What do we get?
Well, there she goes, you know.
I'll move to
We
approve.
have a motion to approve, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They also carry. Finance and budget, you got the accounts payable listing and the additional in there. If you have any questions, you can ask Finance Director Carla.
I got a quick question. What is the flats 55 water meters? We have to pay for those?
No, we will bill them out to them. We are paying for them and then they will be billed out.
Oh, okay.
No, they're not being assessed. They're being billed out and I've already billed them.
We're looking for a motion to approve. Do you have any more, don't have any more questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That'll take us on to motions to general business. First item on the general business tonight, conditional use permit for Miller Mobile Sales. Planning Commission held a public hearing on July 7th to consider the conditional use permit for section 1345.04 subs G, used car sales at 501 North Main Street. Owners of the business, Tom and Nora Miller, I'm going to think, will be leasing the property from Warmka Properties. The Planning Commission is recommending approval of the request subject to the following conditions. Clear vision line for the community event sign. That's our sign we put on the man down there. This will follow the above power lines and shown up the attached mapping. No outside storage of new or used tires, and I take it of other parts probably. No other
Yeah,
parts
no,
on there. So.
yeah, they're not gonna do any.
Okay. Hours of operation will be 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. At no point shall there be wrecked or inoperable vehicles stored on this property. So the council action requested will be to approve the conditional use permit for used car sales as requested. So, do you have anything to add from the planning commission? I see you had unanimously approved there.
Yeah, it was, yeah, we approved it. They're looking to have like 15 to 20 cars to start out with and add more once they get established.
So not planning on doing work and stuff there? Just
No, they're not gonna, it's just
Okay.
gonna be sales.
Maybe have to clean it up or something.
Yeah, yeah, detailing and stuff.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Next item is a variance request for a shed. Zach Wellick at 319 Luella Place Northeast has submitted a variance application to place a shed within 6 feet from his home, which will require a 4-foot variance from section 1305.05. A few reasons for this variance play into this request. Due to the grading of the subdivision, this lot sits 2 homes from the bottom and takes on a lot of water, especially from the adjoining lot to the south, which sits quite a bit higher. Due to the amount of water runoff, we'll have a tile line to the north side of his lot that runs from the front of his house and curves around into the rear yard. There's also a 20-foot drainage easement along the rear property line. This only leaves an area just off the patio for the placement of the shed, which isn't the most desirable. Due to the above, he has requested the above variance so that it can be placed behind the garage and on the side of his home. The shed won't be in sight of any main level windows of his neighbor's home. The planning commission held a public hearing and they are recommending approval of the variance. Okay, council action would be to approve or deny the 4-foot variance as requested. It was unanimously approved by the planning commission, I take it, right?
Yeah.
No problems with it that you guys saw?
No, there was no issues.
Okay.
Neighbors had no issues.
No, and where his house is and where the shed would be built, you're not gonna be able to see it. So it's kind of tucked behind his garage and the side of his house, like you said, so.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That'll take us on to the next item under general business, removal of hazardous trees. As per our hazardous tree ordinance 2019-2, which was adopted on September 10th, 2019, a letter was sent to Dan Ware, 519 Fifth Avenue Southeast, in regards to complaints from adjacent neighbors who had concerns about potential falling trees and damage to their property. The city hired an arborist who met with us on site to make a determination of each tree. 4 trees were evaluated. 3 trees met the criteria by an ISA basic tree risk assessment as hazardous and needing to be removed. On April 24th, a letter was sent to Mr. Ware identifying 2 ash trees and a silver maple that were previously marked for him with an orange X. Ware was given notice that the trees need to be removed within 45 days, along with a copy of the 3 reports. Mr. Ware was also notified that the city could help with the financing of removal costs through our assessment process. Mr. Ware has not contacted the city regarding the letter, but visual inspection has shown that the silver maple has had some branches removed. The 2 ash trees are still as is. As per our ordinance, the city council needs to formally order the trees removed and send notification to the city attorney to start proceedings in order to remove the trees and possible court order if needed. Council action requested to order the removal of the 2 ash trees and silver maple as identified by the ISA Basic Risk Assessment. Questions, discussion, or a motion?
He hasn't talked to anyone at the city?
If you remember right, the neighbors are the ones that brought it forward,
Yeah.
because they feel it's a danger to their homes.
It was an impartial third party that we hired that came in and did this. It wasn't from our staff or anything, so. So that's all the questions or discussion. I need a motion. Do you have anything, Jeremiah? Do you want to say something?
No. I'll move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the removal order. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That also carries. That's the end of our general business. That takes us to the mayor's staff and consultant reports. I already told my joke, so I can't tell it again. The city will send their sympathies to the families of Frank Bernard, Ruth Sheldon, Deanne Stowers, Danny Trice, Hazel Horn, Betty Guthrie, Dennis Rattenberry, Joanne Finley, Jason Pearson, Betty Baker, Steve Babcock, Carl Hansen, Sandy Steffen, Catherine Fisher, and Ruth Shea. Quite a list. Sorry about that. The Stewie Cruiser Car Show is back in action. Stop out on Fridays at the American Legion, enjoy supper and the car show. Stop out and visit with the guys. They've been driving around town, now they're gonna be back where they were. And don't forget, if you've never been there, it's been going on a long time, Racine Lions is hosting their 36th annual chicken barbecue and dance. We have a live band this Saturday. The chicken barbecue is mouth watering. I don't know if you still get the gallon jugs of beer or not. That is the best part. But go on down and have a good time. It's gonna be a good hot night. It'll be a good night to have it down there. So That's all I've got to add. On the bill, you got a report?
Reports in your packet, pretty short this time, and just to bring your attention to the handout, keep you up to date on the pool. Thanks to Lexi for compiling all our numbers here for us, and that just gives you an update there. So everything's been going well, and so far so good with the city all the way around.
Any questions for the minister?
Couple of those days when the max is supposed to be 225, and I see they got like 248 and 245, and what happens on that?
It should be, they try to keep track if people leave, then if people are in line, they come in.
Oh, I
Our
see.
counter adds them too, because we need it for our overall days.
Makes sense. All right, thanks.
Any other questions for Bill? All right. Must be doing a great job, Bill. No questions. Keep up the good work. That takes us to finance director's report. Carla?
I am working on, looking forward to the 2021 budget and kind of working through some of those things. We did a finance committee meeting tonight to look at a couple of those things and bounce it off the guys to see where we're at, so we can keep things as stable as possible with the expectation of things kind of being a hardship for people for the next couple of years. So, otherwise, all is well.
Any questions for Carla? Thanks a lot, Carla. I know you're busy buried in books, and it's hard to always get everything done that some people want, so thanks for coming. Public Works Director report. Sean?
A couple things, just to point out, the radar signs, I didn't know in there. One is up in the south end of town. What I've observed, it does make a
That one works
difference.
good, Bill, there, so.
Yeah, and we ran into issues with the one on the north side. We had to send in for a new panel on that. We just got it yesterday. It's got a charge for 48 hours with that on there before we can pop it up. So it'll be up by this weekend. Dig up the graph will be brown.
I think you gotta have Dick stand under it with his hair dryer.
Get a paper cutout from part of the radar. So another thing is the amphitheater has a lot of the work got done out there this last week. The stone is up on it, looks great, I think. The cedar, the plates are up there in place now, so it looks real good. The seating's all done out there. One area is holding a little bit of water. We're gonna have to have a little bit of black dirt in there. Cement is in place. We have to build the driveway up, and that was up to date, put the lights on by the end of this week. Unless it sounds like rain's done after today, we should pretty much have it wrapped up out there.
The seating's coming pretty good already.
Yep. Well, we seeded some, quite a bit earlier, and then we reseeded it again that long, and we put some oats in with it to keep it from eroding again. So we spread some straw on it this time to help hold it in place too.
We still got something going on coming up out there?
The Pogs are gonna have a movie night
Isn't that like
with
24th?
seniors, yeah. So I think Sean's gonna come here and call us and
We're gonna see where it was posted, and then if we have to, we might move into a grass area. We're leaning towards doing that, just to let the grass seeding all fully take hold. If that's the only thing for this year, let's not wreck it. Let's let it get a good take and be in great shape when we rent it out for the first time. So, then the street project, Jenna's not here, so everything's on schedule going with that. We are down to, they're finishing up the storm sewer in phase 1. It's kind of held off a little bit because of rain, but they've been bouncing back, doing some other things, pulling driveway, black curb, stuff like that. So they jumped ahead a little bit to keep utilizing the time frame. They could do that while it was wet. So they hope at the end of next week that they got gravel on all of phase 1, and they're moving water lines today into phase 2 for the temporary. So everyone's back on the new water main in phase 1 of this year and moving the water line to phase 2. So next week they'll probably have that up and going, and by the end of next week or the week after they'll start digging and doing that stuff there. They're gonna bring a second crew in on the 27th of July to work from the gravel parking lot in Florence to Main Street. So that'll start speeding the process up also. But they're on schedule and everything's going. One area they are gonna do a little subcutting in the intersection of 2nd Street and Lake Shore Drive, because the soil conditions there, even when it's dry, you see a pickup drive over it, you can see it rolling. So they're gonna have to subcut a little deeper and add a little bit of sand in that area to stabilize it. Other than that, no real surprises.
Any questions for John? Good. Sean, you and the guys are worth every penny we spend on here.
Thanks.
Keep up the good work. Wastewater report for June's in there. No city engineer tonight, no library director, but we got a fire chief.
Finally. Back in the building. Just a few things here. Call volumes really kind of reaching back to pre-COVID numbers. We had 55 and 60 medical calls in May and June, respectively, so everybody's getting out doing stuff again. So they're starting to call us again, which is fine. PPE wise, we're doing fine. I don't anticipate any problems getting PPE. We're staying up on it. We've actually got a nice stockpile, so I don't anticipate us ever going out of service again in the foreseeable future, related to that at least. Meetings and training, we just started kind of meeting back in person again. We've been using Zoom for a lot of our trainings. With that, we've done all our EMS training, which is really classroom based, so everybody was able to do that at home. So we kind of kept everybody at home, try to isolate everybody as much as possible. We started getting some small group meetings going, and then business meetings are going. So we have about, I'd say maybe about 2/3 of the people are coming, a third of them are still doing Zoom. We got a couple of members that have, family members that are a little bit compromised or in that vulnerable population, so they're still trying to stay away a little bit with everything's going on, but it's looking like it's working well. The new truck is in the station. We have all the engineers trained. Officers are going to be trained tonight. We're waiting for some equipment, which part of it is over there to get it outfitted and kind of into service. Hopefully we'll have it in service around August 1st to August 15th. So we'll get that up and running, and then whenever we get an opportunity, we'll reach out to council and Bill and try to do a push-in ceremony, something just so the public has a chance to see it, see what we've got for the money. Everything we've done with it right now, we're extremely happy. So the value we got for what we paid for it compared to what the truck is, we got a smoking deal. So even better than that one we look at down in Mississippi. So I think this one's really going to outdo that one. There's a lot of features on this one that even the guys going down to look at it didn't really recognize what some of the things were there. We've got it back here, so it's going to be a nice truck for us. For a long time on the part, I've been here for quite a while. The old truck, once we get the new truck into service, we'll strip the old truck, get with Sean, we'll get it on a public auction, and try to get that thing out of here as soon as possible. Did not pass the ladder test again this year. There are 3 items that has to be fixed on it for it to go into service as public safety. A couple of them are a little bit more challenging. It doesn't mean a small fire department that cannot buy it and just throw some extra money into it. Just for us, it wasn't worth it and stuff. So it needs new tires and some stuff like that. So it's just time to let that one go. We upgraded the Gator trailer. The last time I was here, I asked for authorization to buy a new trailer to carry the Gator UTV, which is one of our grass rigs. That trailer is in. The existing trailer we had has been transferred over to Sean for Public Works to use it. So I think that's going to work out well for them. The new trailer is working out well for us. And whenever we upgrade to a different UTV sometime in the future, that new trailer will be capable of doing it. So it's exactly like the trailer we have the Ranger on right now. So ball, the hitch, everything lines up exactly well. And the Gator is strapped down now. Before the Gator was on there just with weight. The thing's heavier daylights, but doesn't mean if we can get a little wreck that thing will be flying. So it's at least strapped down to the trailer now, so it's a little better thing. 5 years ago, we entered into a lease for thermal imaging cameras. That lease is up. One of our last structure fires, we actually lost one of the techs. We worked with Carla to get that submitted to insurance. We got that taken care of, bought that part of it out. But we're due for a new lease. The lease has worked out really well for us. It takes care of all the damage, repairs, other than us losing it in a fire. Everything else has been taken care of, batteries and stuff like that. So I'll be coming forward with a new lease for 3 techs. So currently we have 2, one on the 2 engines. We'd like to go to 3, one on the ladder truck also. So I'll be coming forward with that proposal for you guys to look at and consider in the near future. Regarding this fire station, looking at that, one of the things that we've been talking about, actually irritates me a little bit, we are looking at a dumpster enclosure in the back. So right now those dumpsters are just on the blacktop in the back. If you're in a high wind situation where there's nothing in them, they tend to move around sometimes. We also have a tendency for a lot of citizens to use them as public trash receptacles for stuff that I know is not ours. So we're going to be looking at a dumpster enclosure. So we talked about that last night. I've got 3 volunteers. So I'll probably have them come down and talk to you about what the process is, permitted and stuff like that. So.
We already did it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I did.
Perfect. So
you're good to go.
So they'll be working on that. And the last thing we got is, we talked about it a little bit last night. discussion regarding the firefighter pancake breakfast in October, and then also the fire prevention open house. We're gonna wait till the August business meeting to make a determination on that, kind of see what's going on with the school district, see what's going on with the governor, what's going there. Either way, we'll send out a letter to the population just to thank them for their support, because they really do support us quite a bit, kind of let them know what's going on. So I know a lot of people kind of count on that every year, want to participate in that. But we also have a lot of our senior citizens go there, which are a little bit more vulnerable with the virus and stuff, so we don't want to be a cluster. That's all we need, to have a Stewartville Fire Department cluster of COVID positive patients. That would be really good for us long term. So more information next month on that. That's all I got.
All right, any questions for the chief? Good report, chief, thank you very much. Thank you and the guys for everything you do down there. That will, Community Commission Board reports. Chamber of Commerce, we have nothing in there right now. They did their thing over the 4th and pulled off a little parade. We had, fire department got the fireworks off. They had some fun things for the kids to do and stuff, so we did get a little bit of 4th of July done. EDA, HRA,
Meeting next Tuesday.
Finance,
Had one tonight.
Library,
Not yet.
Park Board.
Yeah, we met last night. And there should be minutes in there for the last 2 months. There's actually a couple things I wanted to just bring up.
Okay.
As far as, you know, at the workshop, we talked about getting new boards for the hockey rink. The park board would like to try, since they're portable, to try and use those down at Meadow Park instead of Florence this year as a trial, because it's already paved. And then do pleasure skating at Florence on the grass. And see how that goes.
With that, we would not put the lighting, so it would save some expenses. We wouldn't go lighting all the way around. We obviously wouldn't have the blacktop parking lot we had before. It would just be grass in that area. So there would be savings. We'd put one light pole up, probably close to the pavilion, that would light up an area enough to have an open skating area. You don't need it quite as bright for open skating as you need for seeing a puck flying at you and bounce on it. So that would be a little bit of savings on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then there was just some discussion about the horseshoe pits out at Bear Cave, whether or not those should be removed or repaired, and I think Bill mentioned maybe reaching out to some other groups to try and get some funding for that. And let's see what else needs discussing.
So you're not removing the pits? It says here there's a motion to.
Yeah, I think they're kind of second guessing that decision. So at least at this point.
Yeah, we recall the plaque that's out there, one of the civic groups that donated the initial thing, so we're gonna touch base with them to make sure if they want it as a community project updated or what their thoughts are.
Yeah. And then we discussed the 5-year plan and made a few minor changes to that. And that'll be part of the budget that'll be submitted to Carla here soon.
And some of the changes in that were requested by the, not blacktopping the one lot this year, as they want to use that as a staging area for next year's. It doesn't make sense to put new blacktop in there and tear it up, so we push that back here. And then I have one question as far as running the hockey rink. So it's kind of bounced around a little bit, different ideas of how we're doing that. Well, it seems like we've kind of settled on putting the rink up, not blacktopping that over there. Direction, I'd like some direction as far as, I found the one set, I think I've mentioned it before, there's a set of, I'm gonna keep drawing a blank on the name of them, the certain boards that are the top quality. It's a full-size hockey rink, comes with it's a used set, but it's outdoor. So it'll last, as fiberglass and aluminum, it'll last basically forever with proper maintenance. And it is portable, you can take it down each year. If we found an area they could stay up, they could do either or. Comes with plexiglass sides, the penalty boxes, the whole, and we won't necessarily use all that, but we can save some of that stuff for, if we do have some areas that need replacement, we can use those as those replacement areas. So they wanted $35,000 for that set, they've come down to $25,000. everything else I've looked at as new is gonna be a little bit more, but it's not as flexible as what that is. That's out of Albert Lee. As far as I know, they still have them at this time. Doesn't mean we have to on that one. I can keep looking for others.
Is, Jeremiah, aren't you guys working on a grant for hockey stuff? And the only reason I'm asking that, if you buy it before you get the grant, the grant doesn't apply.
Right.
Right?
I talked to Heather just this last week, and she said she has not found anything as of yet that would.
Oh, okay.
that would,
Yeah.
That's why I was just wondering.
Yep. And that's true. We went to those guys to see, and since that's their specialty, they went on, she did, I asked her last week about this, and she said that they haven't found any grants. I told the guy we were dealing with that we had budgeted 20,000, and so 25, if there's any way they can work down from the 25 even yet, but they did drop 10,000 already from the 35. If you buy this set new, it's 120,000, 115, somewhere around there.
How old is it?
Hmm?
How old is it?
7 years?
Okay.
So, is this coming out of general fund or park board fund, or what, the purchase of this?
That's a good question. That was what I asked, is the park board contributing to it, or is it something that we're expected to just figure out and come from the general fund? And I mean, my thoughts on it is it's part of the park board. That does not mean the park board needs to fund all of it, but I do think that some sort of contributing to it would be good.
Park board wants hockey boards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are.
Yeah, and I think they are at least committed to funding some of it, but it just depends on how much money they have left in the budget.
This was a surprise in their budget. It didn't come up until we were going through with the storm sewer.
Right.
And so
Right.
we didn't
Yeah.
realize we had to upsize the storm sewer through there until the engineers did the design on this budget. So it was a surprise on them.
But they do have additional in their capital budget. They've got to carry over from last year, so they do have the availability of the funds if they want to help.
Sounds like the right direction for me to go. I mean, to me, it sounds like the way to go. Get this set. I guess if we gotta do some haggling afterwards to see who pays what, or if we gotta, didn't we one time,
We're
on the
gonna
lights,
juggle.
we did a deal on the lights, instead of them having to burn up their budget on one thing, we let them 5 years to pay for the lights or something like that. I mean,
We used to do that.
some kind of pass through like that or something too.
Yeah, we're doing something like that right now with the amphitheater.
Yeah.
The lights were paid off, so then.
And
we
then
can
the
start
ball
looking
field, yeah,
at
the ball
others.
field lights was what got paid off, so.
When you said there's 20,000 set aside, Sean, where is that 20,000?
Well,
Within our capital budget, basically here.
Okay.
I know when we had our retreat that Jeremiah was talking about, I know I gave a report at that time that we can get brand new ones for $30,000. They're not as quality, I don't feel, as what these are. So I almost feel more comfortable, and this is more versatile. And you have extra spare parts with this too. If you get a board that gets beat up, you've got these Baxters that we won't be using penalty boxes that we could use to replace those, so we have spare
Yeah.
pieces in there and stuff too. But this, I don't do this for a living as far as hockey rinks all the time, so I just did some investigating, see what I could find, did some reading. As far as talking with other people, the set that these guys have is the premier,
Yeah.
what people like to use as far as durable, and they're all the indoor rinks. This one is designed for an outdoor. You can't just buy an indoor. They're not set up to be out in the elements all the time.
This is an outdoor set.
Yep, this is an outdoor aluminum fiberglass. So he said,
I'd be comfortable with that. I don't know what this is.
Sounds good to me.
so.
I mean, it seems to be something that our community wants every winter. They want to know when the hockey rinks are ready and when they're going to be going, so.
There's a group, if we didn't have hockey boards, you'd hear from them.
It's, sounds like a pretty good investment to me.
Yeah, I think it's a great deal.
So, okay, I will work with them on that, and then we will come with a RCA if we come to some kind of agreement with them.
All right. Good deal. That's it for part two?
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right, thanks. Personnel? Nothing at this time, I don't think.
You still negotiating stuff, or no? Have you been, or
We're through.
weren't you guys doing contract talk or something before? I must be forget it. I'm mistaken. Something you guys were talking about the other day.
Oh, they got some questions on our grid schedule, so we're trying to work that out internally first.
Yeah,
before
okay.
It comes to you if it needs to.
Planning and zoning,
Both things we talked about last week were on tonight's agenda.
get some minutes in here, good deal, thanks. Public safety, Jason, you got a report for us?
Yeah, the report I gave you has the monthly numbers, and just like fire, those numbers are back to normal. Compared to last year, pre-COVID numbers, so we're back to normal. The other thing I was gonna add is that starting next week, Sheriff's Offices has a new traffic enforcement unit. That'll be a sergeant, 4 deputies that are gonna be assigned just to traffic and enforcement and special projects that any of the communities, counties, or places in the county might have as far as where they want extra enforcement put. So they're going to be activated next week, and it's kind of a play up here, kind of what they're exactly going to be assigned to, but any community can utilize them if needed. I can ask them where I want them to be, that kind of thing. So if there's any suggestions, I'm thinking 20th Street, 6th Street, Northeast, and those type of places. And Main Street, we're always enforcing, but any of those places can be, they can help with.
You get much of any calls anymore up there on the 11th, 20th and 11th where it comes around the curve, you know, like their cave school?
Not getting any calls. You get speeders through that, it's kind of a
Yes.
raceway there, but we're not getting any complaints.
Good. Any questions for Jason? Thanks. Thanks for doing your work. Public Works,
No report.
ready,
No report?
roll call.
No report.
Stu 180,
Next meeting will be my last meeting.
okay. You got a quick learner back there?
Yep, very quick.
Good deal. Transit Advisory Committee,
No report this time.
no communications. Open mic. City Council welcomes and encourages participation from community members. Please keep in mind that your comments must be pertinent to city business and must adhere to the data privacy rules. No employee's name may be used. Please do not expect action from council's meeting regarding your concerns. We also request that your comments be limited to 4 minutes. Speakers will be recognized only once. At this time, we ask that anyone who would like to address the city council, please step up to the podium, state your name and address.
Lexi.
Did you have anything you want to say?
Motion to adjourn.
Cheryl, do you want to say anything?
No, thank you.
Well, the mayor and the council would like to thank you too, Cheryl, for all the extra effort you put into everything you do every day to make this community that much more friendly and nice. for everyone.
Oh, wow.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?